morning. Today we will study Antimonium. And you will be surprised to see in this remedy all the complaints centers around stomach. Whatsoever he suffers from, stomach takes part in it. Whether it is headache, whether pains, stomach is affected. There will be nausea and vomiting like sensations associated with all the complaints. On the other hand, whenever he disorders his stomach, whether by wine or from extremes of heat and cold or cold bathing, he is sick all over. Mental symptoms of Antimonium are very important, and the patient feels that life is a burden and he has no desire to live. And physician knows that whenever such is the mind where he has lost the desire to live is a serious condition. And Kent says that if the desire is gone, desire to live is gone, then there is some deep constitutional disorder in the economy and it is very difficult to treat. You will find especially in low lingering continued fevers. It has continued type of fevers as well as intermittent and remittent fever. The prostration of Antimonium is similar to arsenic, but arsenic has a fear of death, intense fear of death, whereas this remedy has loathing of life. Arsenic has overwhelming restlessness and there is intense thirst, whereas Antimonium is seldom restless and has no thirst. Sentimental moods in moonlight, and with its sentimentality, he has irresistible desire to talk in rhymes and in repeated verses with his ecstatic love. Young men become ecstatic and fancies that a beautiful female is the object of his sentimental love. Antimonium is very useful for disappointed affections like natramure and calcareophos. This sentimental state is a hysterical state. A disorderly outburst of affections, emotions is a sick state of mind. This kind of patients give us the mental state and as well the constitution of Antimonium. Running through the remedy, a general state, gouty and rheumatism, which is worse from change in weather, worse in cold, worse damp weather, from wine, and ameliorated after hot bath or warmth. All the complaints, pains, rheumatism, headache or gastric symptom that are aggravated after stimulants, after acids or wine, and from damp weather, cold, and is ameliorated after lying down and in warmth. But worse from radiating heat and overheating or a sun rays, heat of garret in the room or a room heater. Child in whooping cough will cough more when look into fire. The whole gouty nature of the case is so sudden that you will be surprised that there is disappearance of gout in extremities suddenly and appearance of gastric symptom with persistent vomiting, and this continues till the gout appear again in the extremities. Catarrhal symptoms of nose, rectum or any mucous membrane of the body will aggravate after taking wine from cold, damp weather, and there is stuffing of nose in overheated room. In chronic coryza, it is associated with headache. If coryza slacks up and nose become dry, there is headache, violent headache with gastric symptoms, nausea, vomiting, and it is aggravated by moving and ameliorated by lying down and in open air. Also, it is aggravated by overheating in radiating heat and light and ameliorated in lying quietly. You will see gastric symptom, catarrhal symptom and headache go together. This is also one peculiarity of Antimonium. In stomach disorders of children, in fevers, gastric fevers and typhoid, there is milky white coating on the tongue, and there is gagging and retching on slight provocation. Loathing of food, thought and smell of food disturb him like arsenic. He takes cold bath, goes to bed, and after he gets up in the morning, he is voiceless. He cannot speak a word. There is painless hoarseness. This may be present with spasm of larynx and clutching of the throat. And sometimes this cold goes down to trachea and causes bronchitis or pneumonia. Cough, dry hacking and first paroxysm is of great violence, followed by another of less violence, by another with much less violence, and after few paroxysms of diminishing violence, there remains a dry hacking cough, and there is great exhaustion and soreness of chest by the violence of cough. Whether it is bronchitis, whooping cough, it will be associated with some gastric symptoms and there will be white coating on the tongue, milky white tongue. And Antimonium will change the whole picture of the case. Stomach symptoms should be considered particularly. There is nausea, there is lump in the stomach and a feeling as if he has overloaded the stomach. He has eaten too much when he has not at all eaten anything. There is distension in the stomach although abdomen is flat. There is distension and he vomits out all the contents from the stomach. He vomits slime after he has vomited the contents of the stomach. Prolonged retching, nausea and sickening load in the stomach which goes on, and vomiting does not ameliorate. Diarrhea from wine and acids and lumpy stool is mixed with watery stool. Antimonium is also useful in prolapse of uterus. There is dragging down sensations, leukorrhea and all kinds of menstrual disturbances in hysterical girls, disturbances of various kinds at menstrual periods, and there is ovarian problems in hysterical girls, troublesome hemorrhoids in gouty constitution. They are sore and inflamed after wine and acidic fruits. Gastric symptom, headache symptom, catarrh and all the pains are aggravated after cold, after wine, after sour food, indiscretion in diet, indigestible substances, cold bathing and overheating. All the complaints are associated with stomach disorder and there is white coated tongue. Milky white coated tongue associated with gastric symptoms and other symptoms constitute Antimonium crude. There is thickening of the skin, ulceration, warts, hardening of the skin, callosities and cones, hard horny excrescences, painful under the nails, extremely sensitive. There is unusual tendency of thickening of the skin on the soles of the foot and they are very painful to walk. Tendency to grow warts on the hands. Let's compare Antimonium crude with its concordant remedies. If we compare Antimonium crude with Athuja synapium, Athuja is suited to very severe cases of vomiting with curdled milk, and there is extreme exhaustion after vomiting and the child sleeps after vomiting. Whereas in Antimonium crude, the child vomits the milk and immediately hungry after vomiting. And if we compare Antimonium crude in nausea conditions with ipecac, the tongue in ipecac is clean, red and there is thirstlessness, and nausea is very marked and it is continuous in ipecac. Whereas in Antimonium crude there is milky white coating on the tongue and the retching is more prominent in Antimonium crude. Antimonium crude should be compared with chamomilla also. In Antimonium crude and chamomilla, both the children are very cross and of irritable disposition. The child of Antimonium crude is irritable and peevish when spoken to and when some attention is given to the child. He doesn't want to be looked at, whereas chamomilla child is also very irritable, very cross, but he wants to be carried out, desire to be carried out. Clark gave us a case that a boy of 17 has 23 warts on one hand and 34 on other hand. In addition, there is redness and inflammation of eyes, and Antimonium crude was given. It cured within 3 weeks. Dr. M.S. Joseph has recorded a cure of chorea when all the remedies has failed, and he prescribed Antimonium crude on the symptom of milky white coated tongue, and he cured that case. Allen keynotes also tell us that Antimonium crude change localities, like lachesis. Lachesis change from left side to right side, and lycopodium change from right side to left side. Lacaninum change from one side to another and then come back to same side again. Lycopodium we have verified in cases of diphtheria and lacaninum in ovarian cases. Now to sum up Antimonium crude, we have few symptoms to keep in our mind. Tongue, milky white coating on the tongue in all the diseases. There are cones and callosities on the soles of foot, can hardly walk without pain and suffering. There is split nails, crushed nails, and all the complaints, whether rheumatism, headache, catarrh, fever, there is milky white coating tongue, and causative factor is after acidic fruits, overloading the stomach, cold bath. There is alternation of diarrhea and constipation in old people, and children, they are cross and peevish when they are looked at or they are given some attention.